Hi, I'm Helena, and I wanted to reach out to you today in the way that others have been expressing themselves too, as these are such extraordinary times. So I wanted to introduce myself. Who am I? I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a family member of my own biological family and a community family. I've been a family practitioner for many decades now, and I have several polarities that I've been involved in. So here's my version of being a human being on this planet at the moment. And we've all been through some main construct experiences to do with training ourselves to live in a body as a human being when we're still in contact with another part of ourselves we call spirit or our multidimensionality. So from my perspective, we've all been guiding ourselves to assist the process of being an evolutionary human being on Gaia. So for me, this started out as a child psychic, where I would receive information from other realms, which was part of my survival kit, if you like, and where I would retreat to when life in the physical became challenging or I didn't understand. So I would retreat inside and communicate with my guides and other members of my family who would connect with me in a beautiful, loving way. And this really assisted me to keep in balance and centered with the reasons for why I even entered or joined a body, which I will explain a little later on as you come to know me and I come to know you. So as I grew into an adult, I kept the connection with my spirit and guidance, and I joined a regular community where I worked for a company. I became involved in training for over a decade for a major high street company, and I became, after the harmonic convergence, which many of you will be aware of now, in 1997, I was in my late 20s then, and for me that part of my life was complete, and an inner voice spoke to me that it was now time to move on to other areas of my life experience, to another chapter. And I met my now husband, and we formed a musical production company, which involved some pretty high profile experiences and events, and also educational programs with schools and other formats for sharing music and alternative approaches to education for young people. This then became my next step as they merged as the birth of our own child invited us to open a kindergarten, which seemed a pretty revolutionary idea at the time. And yet now it makes perfect sense that we walked through that experience and became part of a community with other families and children. We had a specialism with autistic and high sensitive children, and that's something we want to discuss and share with you, as there were some experiences there which for sure changed our life perspective in a really big way. I'll come back to that. One of the things that happened is that being around children and their connection from the other realms rebirthed and opened my own personal connection again. And I realized that I was extremely visual spatial again. I became very empathic. The psychic boundaries all opened up again. I became connected to my sound shamanism. Again, it was a modality for contacting spirit and them contacting me. I was able to reach libraries, which we call the Akash, which gave me information about my own live situation and that of others. So we developed a formula for assisting ourselves and others to reach into their Akash and become more knowledgeable of their own attributes and innate abilities, and also to recenter and rebalance any aspects of ourselves which were causing blocks, if you like, for us to move forward as an evolutionary human being. And we actually became group facilitators with this, with another family in Holland who were going through a parallel experience, and we collaborated and joined together. So Joanna and Yap became our brother-sister family, and we shared many group facilitations together for many years, receiving and decoding telepathic connections with children and young adults, assisting others to be more in balance with their experience with non-physical contact, which can be a pretty intense situation to be living in. And it began helping us to open conversations with each other. We were all, from different generations. So there were the children that we were connecting with, there were young adults, there were mums and dads and parents and grandparents who joined us on the journey to share our experiences. We noticed that certain modalities like sacred sound allowed us to go into altered states of consciousness, and it amplified our connectivity, if you like, with Source. We then began to share the dreams we had together, the holograms and the sensory imprints, the movies that we saw, which were imprints of sensory experience. And then we walked through an embodiment process together, which was quite an experience for many years, and it carries a lot of alchemy, which we shared together, and it's an individual experience, and yet you have this connection to your soul family as you walk through it. So you need to take your own self-responsibility as a community member, and you then become a navigator, a self-navigator, and a navigator within the group collective, if you like. This then led us to be, over the last decade, a family member within group community, where we can join our abilities and our visions to create new worlds where more of these contacts and connections to source could be experienced and self-realized. So I'm a member of this family. I have my own resources, my own sense of self and connectivity, and I'm so blessed to be part of a family where we're able to share these things. And what I feel now is that it's time to share more of these experiences with a wider public. We kept it more within our own collective community experience because it felt safe to do so. We've all been through extreme initiations. We've been through the eye of the needle. I'm sure some of you will know what that means. We've been through our own rebirthing processes. We've been facilitators for others' rebirthing processes. And now we are in this situation of self-isolation. Another chapter is taking place where we're not able to be in physical contact, or it's been reduced, let's say, globally, and we've joined a media new way of connecting with each other through these types of videos and expression. So even when it feels uncomfortable for us, we realize that this is part of our next step of walking together, and we join it with our hearts, and we share, and we have conversation, and we feel each other in an even deeper sensitivity. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being all of who you are. I have the children around me constantly supporting and encouraging us to be in spaces and places where perhaps we haven't felt comfortable before. And yet now is the time. We are in this together. So it's a new chapter. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. And we'll share more soon. Thank you.